Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, and the first thing I got to do is set the record straight. I do know where Moscow and Moscow is, okay? I've determined that. Mr. Cox set me straight, and I have a bad habit of flipping that a lot, but we know where Moscow is. And where is Moscow at?
Russia.
Okay, thank you, our co-host. That was our first test of the day for Ron Wong and John Gordon. John was wondering when he was going to get asked a question. He's come all the way from Dex Unlimited on his scooter, or maybe an Uber driver. I don't know. You probably have a new car, don't you now? Dex Unlimited car?
No, it's my same old truck.
You don't get a truck?
No, we don't. We have some vehicles we can use.
Yeah, okay.
We don't have any.
I told them to give you a truck.
Any company vehicles that are
they
assigned to us or anything. Some of the guys do.
It would be hard to carry your dog around in one of the cars.
Well, you're right. My dog's in the truck right now.
Yeah,
he's
all right.
He's patiently waiting on you.
I told him to get you a truck on your new job out there, and they got one waiting on you. Just got to get the tires to come in. So,
yeah, that's it. It needs
all
tires.
Right, we're going to talk fishing right now, and that's Ron Wong is awake now. Now that we know where Moscow, Russia is, and Moscow, Tennessee is, from bird dogs to fishing, and one of the great names in the fishing industry, of course, is Stanley Jigs.
Absolutely,
which has been around for a pretty good time, and I wanted to get Lonnie Stanley on to talk because Lonnie's younger than me. It's always good to talk to somebody younger than me,
and older than me.
Well, we've gone enough on that. But hey, Lonnie, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, good morning this morning. How y'all doing?
We're doing great up here in Memphis, and I know everything's probably going great down in Huntington, Texas. We had the front move through us the other day, and we went from 73 to 29. And so Ron's ready to talk fishing, and you guys at
absolutely,
you guys at Stanley Jigs and Hale Lures have come up with something I think is pretty unique, if you want to put the word to it. Tell us what you guys are doing. Somebody's got a chance to win $100,000 in what I like this is cold hard American cash. So
yes, sir. That's right.
Talk about what do y'all come up with here?
Well, we have a new guy that's working for us now, Clifford Wheelman.
Yes.
And he used to be with Kistler Rods, and Clifford
That's where he used to be. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's I've known him ever since he was a teenager with Kistler Rods, and so he went to work with Stanley Jigs, which was a great addition to our whole program at Stanley, because us old guys, we know how to turn our computers on and drive a car a little bit.
Come on,
go
Lonnie.
fishing every once in a while, but Clifford can sit here on this laptop and do more on it than I can the rest of my life.
Okay,
so he come up with this deal about, make it fun for kids and men and women and whatever nationwide to, give away $100,000 for the world record bass. And some of the guys that's up north, you might not have a good a chance as the people south of the Mason-Dixon line, especially in Florida and California. But
yeah.
It's a free contest. Anybody can enter it. Just go to fishstanley.com and you can register online and throw a Stanley jig out by a tree and catch a 2206, and you win $100,000.
Okay, Ron. Ron, you start chunking, Ron.
I have to tell you,
we got to get a percentage. Me and John get a percentage.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have been using these Stanley jigs for a long, long time. The Stanley Wedge spinnerbait, I've probably been using about 25 years now.
Well, it's time for you to catch a
you know
big
what?
bass.
It is that time of the year that either one of those baits will catch your personal best and possibly a world's record or a state record.
Yeah. We're probably going to do something else next year for us, do some states, maybe a smaller amount for a Texas record or Georgia's record or, whatever.
Tennessee record.
We don't know exactly what we're going to do. This is going over real good. It's got a lot of interest, got a lot of advertising for us. And, Clifford was looking at the records, the bass share lunkers here in Texas, that the top 10 fish that was caught in Texas in the last 15, 20 years have been caught on a Stanley jig or spinnerbait.
There you go, Ron.
So we're real proud of that. So, we're gonna let it go and see what it does. And I know the people at the IFGA people ain't real proud that we did this, but that's okay too, I guess.
Yeah, because I look at this thing and I remember Ethel.
Yes.
Caught back in '86
out of Lake Fork.
And that kind of really
that put the map.
Everybody was going to Lake Fork after that.
Well, that put Lake Fork on the map.
It did, and they even gave it I don't know how it came up with the name Ethel. I don't know. Do you know the tale on that, Lonnie? How that became?
Oh yeah, well, I sent him the jigs. He was a guide up there, and Mark fished the BSS tournaments back in the '80s. I started in '82. I think he started right about the same time I did, fishing some of the BSS.
Mark Stevenson, okay.
Yes, Mark Stevenson, and gosh, he had more jigs than I did. We sent him a whole bunch of jigs. His favorite jig was a half-ounce black, brown, and pink
You
jig
still remember
with
that?
a Hell's crawworm on the back of that pink shine in the water. And that's what he called Ethel on, a half ounce on that little bitty hook that we used to put in it.
Oh my God! I wondered about that. Yeah.
We have changed the hook now on the casting jig and put a little bit bigger, heavier needlepoint hook in it. Now that you can cast it, do the same thing casting. You also can flip it and pitch it, around the trees, docks, and stuff too. And you got a hook that'll break 20-pound test line.
Oh.
But Ethel was a special deal, Johnny Morris carried him up there. Millions of people.
Yes, that's right.
Ethel grow from 17 something to 18 to 19 to 20.
Yep, that's right.
And the word was it did break the world record, but no, Johnny and them wasn't going to let that out because it was in captivity, wouldn't have counted anyway. But
Ethel,
Ethel, boy, she was something else. Now she was a beautiful fish.
I remember that fish. I was living in Texas at the time in '86. I was in high school. And
you remember Ethel?
That fish getting caught? Yeah.
And ended up with Johnny Morris and getting to watch that fish grow. And what I didn't realize this, and I did some research on this thing. Ron knows if I was ever to do anything else, I would love to name fishing lures. Okay,
that's right.
Now check these names out. Okay. Big Nasty Jig, New Mud Puppy, and the Awesome Twin Spin. Those came right out of my mind.
And how about colors? You like to name colors?
I like colors too.
How about Stanley's Purple Haze?
Oh, I love Purple Haze. Yeah, that was one of my favorite right there.
Hey, listen, I got to break in this a minute. My nephew William Flurnoy has been fishing. I've been teaching him how to fish since he was 13. He wins a lot of tournaments and stuff down here on Rayburn. He come up with 3 or 4 colors, but one of them is the bad whiskey.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the bad whiskey.
Yeah, I said, William, what did you name it that for? He said, it looked like somebody's whiskey had been sitting out in the sun for about a week now. I can't tell you what one of the other ones he catches a lot of fish, but it was something about a redhead.
Oh my!
Whatever and
redhead and whiskey. All right. So.
Yeah, it did real good. Them colors did.
Well, I know. Again, we're talking to Lonnie Stanley. Stanley jigs. Been around them more than 4 decades. I know that, and hooked up, of course, with Hale Lures, and that's John Hale, the CEO for that. But have a sweepstakes. It started on January 1st. If you can catch a state record. Largemouth bass weighing 22.6 or more on any Stanley jig bait or a Hale lure bait, you're going to get $100,000. And here we go again, cold, hard American cash.
Yes, sir.
I love that inference in there. And so the company itself, Lonnie, talk about that. I'm kind of interested about how it got started.
Well, it's kind of. I used to not really know, but older I got, I knew it was the good Lord that did the whole thing. I didn't just kind of went on along for the ride, but I started making, Tommy Martin, Larry Nixon, and was teaching me how to fish back in the 70s and early 80s. And I started making this homemade jig.
Homemade.
Nobody put any kind of, I won't mention none of the brands, but the brands that was out there, there wasn't very many. Archie and maybe Cordell was. But nobody really put in, there was a piece of lead and a hook, and I took it and balanced the lid. And it's still today the only casting and flipping jigs that it's completely balanced. It stands upright. It don't hang up. It's got more action. You catch more fish because the hook's sticking up. And that's what made Stanley jigs, was the balance of that old jig, that old casting jig. And we went back and redid all of our molds about 3 years ago and recaptured the balance of the jig. and the hand-tied skirts that we used to tie at home. Now all the baits that Stanley makes as far as the jigs and the spinner baits has got, you don't have to worry about a band getting tangled up and melting in your box anymore. But it started in a 8 by 16 foot building, and I lived in my whole life here at Sam Rayburn. But we moved to Bryant College Station back in the early '60s, and I stayed out there for 15 years. That's where it started.
That's where it started.
Just kind of doing it at me and another couple of bass clubbers. I built it, and we started fishing it. And
amazing.
We won some of the the top 6 tournaments with a Stanley jig. Next thing I know, Tommy Martin and Larry Nixon and Ricky Clun, all them guys were starting to. They liked the balance part. They liked it because it caught fish, and so they just the pros made the company go.
Well, those whippersnappers back in those years,
yes, sir.
The General and all those other guys and Rick Clun, golly. But again, talking to Lonnie Stanley. Lonnie, we thank you, buddy, for being with us this morning. How can they go to find out information on this? As Ron Wong always asks me.
Yep.
Yeah, just go. You just get online and go to fishstanley.com, and you can register for the deal, and you can see all of our new stuff, our new spinnerbaits, our new code red spinnerbaits and jigs, flipping jigs. The whole deal's there.
All right,
awesome stuff,
Lonnie. Thank you, buddy. Stay in touch. Appreciate you being with us. Okay, have a great day.
You good?
All right.
Appreciate you.
All
Thank you very much,
Lonnie Stanley. I hear these things, and I know that fishing is prime time. I've got to ask John Gordon here. Are you in depression now? Are you still hunting conservative? Are you the conservation, whatever that thing is, order, or is that still going on?
It is, and we'll run through through March in Mississippi and Arkansas. But the problem we're running into is that a lot of the birds
they might
left
get pushed
with
in?
the warmer weather.
You think they might get some this weekend?
Well, yeah. I think what it did mainly was this latest front, that really came in on Thursday.
Yeah.
Kind of stalled the birds that were already heading north. And, as soon as the wind turns around south again, how hard they're going to go. And one thing that happened this year made the snow hunting very difficult was the fact that the juvenile population was very low.
Yes.
There was a bad storm on the breeding grounds when they were just little babies. I mean, hadn't had their primary feathers or anything. They were still fuzzballs at that point, and it wiped a lot of the young birds out, and that made it very difficult this year. So, I've pretty much moved on and
moved on, hadn't you?
Yeah, I think about turkey hunting and crappie fishing.
Have you
and
done
things like that.
How's the DU videos? I mean, are we through with the season? You taking all of them?
Yes. We've got one more film of a new series called Conserve that's habitat based to do. But beyond that, we've done all the filming for DU TV for the 2019 season, and
great.
DU films will be coming out. The first DU film will be out this month.
It will
in February. Yes.
Go to ducks.org.
Ducks.org. That's where you find it.
Easily find it right there. All right, let's take a break. Going to come back and wrap it up with something that is great. It's called the Great Backyard Bird Count. And we're going to talk to the person who knows all about it from the Cornell Institute of Ornithology. I've got that name down. I got it. It took me forever. It's that in Moscow, but I've got ornithology. We'll be right back.